Hey guys, Movie Fan 356 here, and today we're continuing Halloween Horror Month. And the next couple of reviews are going to be films done by James Wan. And aside from Saw, because I want to try to squeeze Saw in, because Saw wasn't originally on my schedule, but I'm going to try to squeeze those in sometime this month. So uh, I'm going to review other James Wan's movies, and the first one we're talking about is Dead Silence. Now, Dead Silence came out in 2007, directed by James Wan and written by Lee Winnell. And basically, the storyline of Dead Silence is this newly married couple gets this doll sent to them. This ventriloquist dummy, actually, is what it is. And spoiler alert, the doll, the dummy, kills the wife, Lisa. And so, yeah, Jamie, the husband, is forced to go back to his hometown, talk to his father, find out why Lisa was killed, where the dummy came from, and try to uncover like the secret of Mary Shaw, who was a popular ventriloquist back in the day. And that's basically the plot of the movie. Now, what I think of Dead Silence is I like it. I think it's a very underrated horror film. You don't see too many people talking about it. And a lot of people praise the Insidious movies and The Conjuring. And it's done by the same director. And I find this movie very underrated. Okay, um, the storyline of the film is a little generic, but it's also different in a way, if that makes sense. Um, let's talk about the actor who plays Jamie, the main character of the movie who we're following. I don't remember the actor's name off the top of my head right now. I should have looked into. I should have looked it up, but I didn't. So, but the actor who played our main character, Jamie, he's actually a fun. He's actually a good actor, and he portrays the character well. And the character of Jamie is a character that you can kind of relate to because he's from a rich family, but he wants to get away from all that. He doesn't want to be the rich. He doesn't want to be a trust fund baby, and he stays away from his family. He's happy with his wife. His wife dies from a mysterious dummy, and he doesn't. He kind of goes on this investigation, and you can kind of be like, okay, that's something I would probably do in that situation. I'd go back to find out what's this all about, and why was my wife killed? Why her? Kind of thing. Um, Donnie Wahlberg's in the movie. He's playing a detective in the film who's kind of suspecting Jamie for the murder of his wife, and but he kind of follows him on his investigation, tries to find evidence that could put him away for the murder of his wife. Now, what I think of Donnie Wahlberg's character is it's Donnie Wahlberg. I like Donnie Wahlberg as an actor. Um, I think he's good. Horror is something that I think he's okay in. Um, it's got to be the right role, and I think this was a good role for Donnie Wahlberg because he's there and he can kind of be himself a little bit, and because you can tell that as Donnie Wahlberg as a detective, that's what I think. Let's talk about Mary Shaw, which is the ventriloquist who had that dummy back in the day, and spoiler alert again, you find out that she's been dead for quite some time, and so we don't know what's going on with the dummy. So it's a cool little mystery film as well. You're kind of learning the answers with Jamie. So, um, James Wan. Let's talk about the writing. The writing is done by Lee Winnell, who, if you guys don't know, is very close friends. He's probably James Wan's best buddy. I'm not going to give you their whole backstory, but Lee Winnell has wrote Saw, the first Saw movie. He wrote Saw 2, even though James Wan wasn't a part of it. He wrote Saw 3. Again, James Wan wasn't a part of it except for producers. He wrote Dead Silence, and he wrote the two Insidious movies, and Insidious 3. And he's going to be directing Insidious 3 as well, because James Wan's kind of moved on for the time being. And what I think of his writing is him and James work so well together, because I find that if a writer and a director who are working together, it helps if they're friends, because they know each other's style. Like Lee Winnell knows how James Wan wants to shoot a movie. He knows how he wants to film it, so he writes that in, and they work very well together creatively. So the writing's good. There's a couple parts in the movie where not much is really happening. Let's talk about Jamie's father, though, because I know I've seen this actor in a lot of stuff. I can't remember most of the actors' names in here, aside from Donnie Wahlberg, to be honest with you. I should have looked into him, but whatever. The guy who plays Jamie's father in the film, I like him. I do. I think he's kind of doing what he needs to do. You know, he's confined in a wheelchair. Apparently he's had a stroke, like a year back or whatever. And, he misses Jamie. He's glad Jamie's home, and he understands what Jamie's trying to do. So you kind of you can get that, and I actually like the actor who portrayed his father. Um, Again, this chick, I don't remember her name, but she's playing Jamie's new stepmother, and we find out that Jamie's gone through a lot of stepmothers, and so yeah, one took off, one got killed, one. I mean, it's just his family is a mess. So when he meets her, he's like, she's trying to be sympathetic and trying to say, hey, you know, you are a part of this family, I'm a part of this family, and since we are a family, I want to try to help you. But he's like, no, I'm not gonna get attached. They all leave. You're gonna leave too at some point. I'm just here to find out what happened to my wife. I don't care, kind of thing. So there's a good dynamic between the two. Um, Spoilers. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a grade first, but there is something that I want to talk about that is spoiler heavy. So if you have not seen Dead Silence, this one's not that old. It's a few years old, but it's like 7 years old now, and and it's, you know, not many people have seen it. Excuse me. Oh, okay. Not many people have seen it. So I'm not gonna give away the spoiler stuff that happens in the film. So the grade I'm gonna give Dead Silence, I'm gonna give it a B plus. I think it's a solid film. It's a good horror film. It's got that. Every time I watch Dead Silence, it gives you a cold and creepy feeling. Like, it's shot very beautifully. James Wan and the cinematographer on the film did well. Um, yeah, so visually it's great. It's a solid movie. I'm gonna give it a B plus. The characters, most of them are relatable. They're very human. The scares, there's a couple jump scares here and there, but it's mostly psychological kind of thing, and it's the stuff that we don't see that scares us in this movie. Um, you know, Morgan. I want to mention this because it's Halloween Horror Month, and because I just want to get this out there. When she watches this video later, and she will, she's gonna, you know, probably abuse me a little bit. But Morgan is afraid of clowns, and which is weird because I'm not gonna get into that. But she's afraid of clowns. And there's a scene in the movie where there's a clown, and it's a pretty, you know, creepy scene, and she likes to watch the movie Dead Silence, but until we get to that, but once we do get to that part, she'll be like out of the room, darting. Um, so that's always fun. So if you have anybody who's afraid of clowns, Dead Silence is a good one to check it out, even though there's only a clown in like one scene. When you get there, since they're probably not expecting that, they'll probably freak the fuck out. So B plus, solid horror film. It's what I want in a horror film. You know, it's not, you know, teen slasher movies, which can be good. There's a lot of good teen slasher movies out there. There's a lot of shit ones too, but it's very psychological. It's what we don't see that scares us in this film. It kind of keeps us guessing a little bit. We're kind of learning the answers along with Jamie. The characters are relatable. I already mentioned that. And the script is just well written, and it's well directed. So B plus for Dead Silence. Now, spoilers, because I have to talk about this. Sorry. Okay, so if you guys have not seen Dead Silence, I wouldn't recommend watching beyond this point, just because I don't want to ruin this for you. James Wan and Lee Winnell's movies, every time they work together, there tends to be a twist um, in the movie somewhere. So, I mean, we've seen that with the first Saw movie, and, you know, that became a staple of the Saw films. Well, this one came out in between Saw 2 and... No. Saw 3 and 4 is when it came out. Is in between them. But this movie does have a twist. When you find out that... It's probably my favorite scene in the movie just because it's the twist and there's that theme music. By the way, that theme by Charlie Clouser is spectacular. It's a good thing to listen to around Halloween time, especially if you're running like a haunted house. It's a good thing to play. It should be on your haunted house playlist, along with a few other things. But the twist, when you find out that Jamie's father was dead the entire time, and he was being controlled by someone, and we find out that someone was actually his new stepmother, and you're like, what the fuck? So he's been a puppet. He's been not really a puppet, but he's been a dummy, and she's the puppet master. And so that's a cool, crazy thing. I do like the twist a lot. I like most of their twists, actually, that Leigh Whannell writes. But there's more to the twist than that. Not only is his father dead and she's the puppet master for it, she's actually Mary Shaw. And we find out that towards the end of the film, before the twist, we find out why his wife Lisa was killed. And he was trying... Mary Shaw is trying to get rid of the Ashens because of something that happened in the movie. In the past. And when you find out that she was killed because, you know, Jamie's not the last Ashen, because she's trying to get rid of all of them, which, why didn't she go after Jamie first and then Lisa? If she's trying to go in order or something, I don't know. But she's trying to get rid of the entire family, and she killed Lisa because Lisa was actually, we find out Lisa was pregnant. So that was a cool little thing. I'm like, yeah, that actually makes sense. So good job. And yeah, you find out that, you know, his stepmom's Mary Shaw, and you're like, whoa! And then she ends the movie with, now, who's the dummy? I'm like, okay, it's a cool little catchphrase you got there. Not quite as memorable as Game Over, but, you know, it's still a good one. And that rhyme. Before I go, I want to talk to you about that rhyme, because that rhyme is fucking creepy. Like, if I told my kid that rhyme, she probably wouldn't sleep for a long, long time. Beware the stare of Mary Shaw. She had no children, only dolls. And if you see her in your dreams, be sure you never, ever scream. And there's an extra line to it, but it's not in the movie. Or she'll rip your tongue out at the scene. That's another thing. That's why it's called Dead Silence. If you scream, your tongue gets ripped out, and it's fucking awesome. The kills in this movie are another good thing I didn't talk about. They're good. I really like the kills in this movie. So, guys, what did you guys think of Dead Silence if you saw it? I know it's very underrated. Not many people have seen it. I know there's a good number of people out there who've seen it. A lot of people have seen it, especially James Wan fans like myself. But it's not something that everybody talks about. So, have you seen Dead Silence? What did you think about it? Let me know down in the comment box below. And, guys, that's all I can say for today. I'll see you guys in the next video.